Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just...
$1 billion life destroyed. It starts like any other celebrity night out. Coldplay, Hollywood Bowl, sold out crowd. Spotlight hits section C, row 4. And there they are, Andy Byron and Kristen Vale. The camera lingers. The crowd roars. She leans in. He leans back. Freeze frame. Andy ducks behind her shoulder like a guilty schoolboy. Voiceover. In just 10 seconds, Andy Byron went from tech royalty to global meme. Replay. Zoom. Repost. Millions of views before the encore even ends. The kiss that didn't happen becomes the scandal no one saw coming. His wife, billionaire heiress and angel investor Tessa Langley, stays silent for 48 hours. Then comes the statement. 12 words, one dagger. He showed the world what I ignored for years. And just like that, the man once called Silicon Valley's crown prince was exiled. This isn't just a scandal. It's a case study in how fast a life can fall apart when the world's watching. How a moment of weakness became a worldwide event. Gillette Stadium, Boston. A perfect summer night. 70,000 people. Fireflies in the air. Coldplay's Fix You echoing under the lights. Phones raised, hearts full, lovers swaying to the music. And then the kiss cam, a harmless tradition. A fun distraction between songs. The camera pans across laughing couples. Cheers grow louder as it lands on section 138. There he is, Andy Byron, Kristen Vale, sitting beside him smiling, expectant. He glances at the jumbotron. One beat, two, then the duck. Andy dips his head behind her shoulder like he's hiding from a teacher, not the world. Her smile twitches. A blink too long. The crowd laughs. The clip cuts. 10 seconds tops. But the internet never cuts. Within minutes, the video is everywhere. TikTok edits, Twitter threads, Instagram slow-mos with Coldplay lyrics dubbed over them. Nobody said it was easy. Within hours, #KissScamGate is trending worldwide. One Reddit user posts a side-by-side comparison of Andy with his wife, Tessa Langley, heiress to the Langley Hotel fortune, Harvard-educated, and once called the East Coast's answer to Melinda Gates. Not his wife, someone comments. Definitely not Tessa. Someone else confirms. Speculation morphs into certainty fast, and then the sleuthing begins. Kristen's Instagram. Her tagged photos. A blurry beach pic from Cabo resurfaces Andy in the background, shirtless, holding two margaritas. The internet doesn't need evidence, just vibes. Andy Byron wasn't just any man. He was the billionaire founder of Astronomer, the AI company that claimed to predict everything from election outcomes to disease outbreaks. He was Forbes 40 Under 40, Fortune's most admired tech CEO, and a father of two. He once said in an interview, "The internet only punishes people who don't know how to use it." Oh, the irony, because now, the same machine he helped build was turning on him. No press release, no denial, just silence. Until Tessa finally spoke, 12 icy words, posted to her 12 million followers. He showed the world what I ignored for years, and suddenly, this wasn't about a moment. It was about a marriage, an empire, an illusion shattered under stadium lights. A moment of weakness became a worldwide event, and Andy Byron became its cautionary tale. Nobody said it was easy, but nobody said it would go viral either. The man behind the money and the mask before the stadium, before the silence, before the shame. Andy Byron was Silicon Valley royalty, Stanford dropout, code prodigy. He didn't just ride the AI wave, he built the surfboard. In 2016, he launched Astronomer, a platform that used predictive algorithms to detect patterns in human behavior. It started with retail trends, then elections, then disease modeling. By 2021, Astronomer was predicting supply chain failures before they happened and had a $12 billion IPO to prove it. Andy graced the cover of Forbes, grinning like a man who saw the future and liked what he saw. He was a new kind of CEO, disciplined, media savvy, and most importantly relatable. He wore hoodies to board meetings and read bedtime stories to his daughters on live streams. He talked about tech for good and held his wife's hand on every red carpet. That wife was Tessa Langley, an old money heiress who never needed the spotlight. Yale-educated, founder of Brightline, a nonprofit for women's education in conflict zones. She rarely spoke in interviews, but when she did, She praised Andy's restraint and sense of responsibility in a reckless industry. Together, they were a brand. Andy, the genius. Tessa, the compass. America's tech sweethearts. But then came Kristen Vale, astronomer's head of our Oxford MBA, former Meta executive, blunt, beautiful, brilliant. She'd once written a viral essay titled The Empathy Gap in Leadership, which Andy reposted, calling it a must-read. For anyone building teams that last, they were often spotted together at offsites, retreats, late-night panel events. Industry gossip shrugged it off. Of course, the CEO and HR head are close, they're the culture drivers, but some employees notice the glances, the inside jokes in boardrooms, the way Kristen would step in to answer for Andy during press Q&As. Then came the Cabo retreat, a staff bonding trip supposedly. No press allowed, but photos leaked anyway. Andy and Kristen on a jet ski. Andy and Kristen laughing over drinks. Tessa? Nowhere in sight. Still, the public image held. Barely. Insiders whispered that Tessa had grown distant, more focused on Brightline than Byron's business dinners. Others said Andy was exhausted. That he'd once told a friend, "I feel like I'm living a life that doesn't belong to me anymore." But no one said it out loud, because Andy Byron was untouchable until Coldplay, until a 10-second clip broke the illusion that stadium kiss or the lack of one wasn't a beginning. It was a reveal, a crack in a mask that had been worn too long, because behind the hoodie and the TED Talks, behind the spreadsheets and speeches about emotional intelligence, was just a man, a flawed, tired, distracted man, caught, not in betrayal but in truth. And Kristen? The ambitious HR head who once said, "Leadership is about transparency." She didn't flinch on that jumbotron. She smiled as if she already knew what the rest of the world was about to find out. Let's go back, frame by frame. The 10 seconds that burned down $1 billion life. Frame 1. Andy's hand rests on Kristen's knee. Light, familiar, almost unconscious. Her head turns toward him. She's smiling. It's automatic. She knows what's coming. Frame 2. The kiss cam graphic spins on screen. The crowd laughs, cheers, claps. Kristen turns fully, leans in just slightly. It's polite, playful, expected. Frame 3. Andy freezes. A 2-second delay that feels like forever. Eyes flick upward to the jumbotron, and then panic. Frame 4. He jerks his body back. Not a laugh, not a wink, not even a smirk to brush it off. He ducks, head down, behind her shoulder, like a kid caught cheating on a test. Frame 5. Kristen's smile breaks just a little. Her eyes harden. She looks forward again, lips pressed. The crowd moves on. The band starts another song, but the internet? It hits record. Within an hour, the clip is everywhere. The hashtag start, Scamfail, hashtag Coldplay crisis, hashtag Byron Duck. TikTok slows the moment down one frame at a time. Commentators dissect Andy's micro-expressions. Watch how his left hand tightens after the camera pans to them. See Kristen's delayed blink. Classic disappointment reflex. Twitter turns savage. Man's risked it all for HR. And folded like a lawn chair. That's not a duck. That's a confession. Reddit goes forensic. Users match Kristen's earrings to a gala she attended 3 weeks earlier. Same night Andy claimed to be in Dubai. The timelines blur, overlap, and then the ethical questions start. Kristen Vale isn't just a colleague. She's head of HR. The power balance collapses. Lawyers chime in. Podcasters do entire episodes titled Consent, Coercion, and the CEO. Was this just a workplace romance or something murkier? Behind the scenes, astronomers board scrambles. This isn't just PR, it's legal. An internal inquiry is launched. Anonymous staff leak details to the press. There were whispers for months. She got access to Andy's calendar. No one else did. He made her VP of culture after one offsite. The stock drops. Investors panic. Employees start posting cryptic LinkedIn updates about toxic leadership and silent complicity. Meanwhile, the media descends like vultures. The New York Post, astronomer CEO's galactic mistake. The Atlantic, from ethics to ego. The fall of Andy Byron. BuzzFeed, a kiss that never happened but ended a marriage. And Kristen? She vanishes. Her Instagram goes private. She skips a planned panel appearance at the Women in Tech Summit. No comment, no denial, no defense, just absence and silence. Andy tries damage control. His Twitter bio once a smug building the future one algorithm at a time. is wiped clean, his Instagram gone, his LinkedIn deactivated, but the internet keeps receipts. Old interviews resurface, him praising transparency, saying things like, "The only legacy worth leaving is your integrity." People start stitching those quotes next to the kiss cam clip with clown music underneath, and then, just when the dust seems ready to settle, Tessa posts the 12-word statement seen around the world. He showed the world what I ignored. For years, it's not angry, not emotional, just final. Kristen stays silent, but Tessa, she speaks volumes in a single sentence. The message is clear. This wasn't just a lapse. It was a pattern. The public doesn't forgive Andy. They redefine him, from visionary to videos. Just a single Instagram post, white text on black background. Poised, cold, devastating. I've seen enough. After years of deceit, this moment only confirmed what I refused to admit. I am filing for divorce. My daughters and I are done being collateral damage in someone else's performance. No names, no accusations, just finality. And just like that, the silence broke and the internet exploded. Tessa Langley had always been quiet. Now, she was loud. The public, especially women, rallied behind her. Hashtag Team Tessa trended within hours. A Vogue op-ed called her the calm eye of a very public storm. The Guardian described her post as a masterclass in restraint and power. Comment sections flooded with stories from women who'd stayed too long, who'd been gaslit, humiliated, minimized. Tessa had given them something they didn't know. They needed permission. Suddenly, this wasn't just a tech scandal. It was a reckoning. The fallout was swift and brutal. That same day, Astronomers Board issued a statement. Andy Byron has tendered his resignation as CEO, effective immediately. The board remains committed to the highest standards of professional conduct and corporate governance. Translation? They pushed him out, and they wanted everyone to know it. Astronomers' stock plunged 14% in a single trading session. 2 major investors pulled out. A planned government contract suspended. The company scrambled to contain the damage. A third-party ethics firm was brought in. All workplace relationships involving executives under review. And then, quietly, came Kristen's resignation. No post, no press, just her name removed from the leadership page. Gone. But her exit didn't end the questions. Why was HR, the department meant to prevent abuse, at the center of the scandal? Who knew what? And when? And if the CEO could blur lines without consequence, who else had? Astronomers' internal culture, once hailed as a case study in ethical tech, was now under fire. Meanwhile, Andy Byron vanished. For a week, there were no sightings, no photos, nothing, until the Daily Mail published a set of grainy paparazzi shots. Andy, alone, leaving a private wellness resort in Big Sur, beard untrimmed, eyes sunken, baseball cap pulled low. No security, no Tesla, no Kristen, just a man walking down a gravel path looking small. Another shot, Andy at an outdoor cafe, scrolling through his phone, unreadable. The caption read, "The loneliest man in Silicon Valley." He'd once stood on stage, in front of 5,000 employees, saying, "We build the future by staying worthy of it." Now, he wasn't welcome at the company he created. The empire didn't explode in flames. It cracked one fracture at a time. A kiss that didn't happen. A wife who refused to stay silent. A culture that couldn't protect its own. The man who once predicted human behavior for profit never saw his own downfall coming, and neither did we. From corner office to cautionary tale, what happens after the fire? The smoke clears, the headlines fade, but the damage that stays. Andy Byron didn't just lose his job. He lost everything that came with it. Astronomers Board didn't stop at his resignation. They stripped him of his seat too. Unanimous vote, no ceremony, no thank you letter. Within days, Kestrel Capital, the private equity firm where Andy served as senior advisor, severed ties. Their statement? One line, "Mr. Byron no longer represents the values of our organization." Then came the divorce filings, sealed of course. But insiders whispered, Tessa walked away with half the estate and full custody of the children. She kept the Nantucket house, the New York penthouse, even the vintage Tesla Andy used to call his third baby. Andy moved into a rental in Palo Alto, a far cry from the estate once featured in Architectural Digest. His lawyers insisted it was amicable, but her silence said otherwise. The public reaction split clean down the middle. Some mocked him endlessly. Podcasts ran parody skits. Twitter users created soundtracks, clips of Andy ducking set to Runaway by Kanye West. One meme read, "Built a company that predicted the future but missed his own wife walking out." Others, though, pitied him, called it a human moment, a lapse. A man crushed under the weight of performance and pretense. One viral comment summed it up: "It's easy to laugh until it's your mask slipping." Still, the narrative was set. Andy Byron was no longer a tech genius. He was a cautionary tale. Business podcasts called it the Byron effect, the concept when a CEO's personal image is the brand and the brand collapses when they do. Case studies sprang up overnight. Stanford MBA courses used the scandal in ethics lectures. One professor described it as the most efficient personal to corporate implosion in recent memory. Astronomer survived barely, but its valuation halved. 2 board members resigned, and recruitment tanked because talent doesn't want to work in a place where HR feels compromised. And Kristen, gone, spotted once boarding a plane in Zurich. Rumors swirled that she signed an NDA, that her severance came with a silence clause, that she might have threatened legal action herself, but no one knew for sure. She disappeared as quickly as she'd appeared. No interviews, no statements, no memoir, just a ghost in a story everyone else was still telling. And Andy? He made one final appearance, not in person but through a representative. A bland, curated statement: "Mr. Byron is taking time to reflect, be with his family, and focus on personal growth. He asks for privacy as he works on himself." No apology, no ownership, just air. That was 6 months ago. Since then, nothing. No podcasts, no articles, not even a LinkedIn comeback post. But the internet remembers. It always does. Andy's legacy online is sealed. He's not remembered for astronomer or his innovations. He's remembered for one moment, 10 seconds, 2 people, 1 duck. He became a meme, the man who ducked his way out of a marriage. And no algorithm, no AI can delete that. What does it mean to be watched all the time? This story isn't just about Andy Byron. It's not just about a man, a moment, or even a marriage. It's about us. The world we live in now, where privacy is performance and silence is a statement, where every glance is recorded, every hesitation magnified, and a split-second mistake can become your entire legacy. The Coldplay concert was meant to be intimate, a shared moment, 2 people, 1 song. But in 2025, intimacy doesn't exist without interruption. Every jumbotron is a surveillance drone. Every bystander has a camera. And every moment can become a message sent, reshared, reframed. Andy Byron didn't just flinch. He flinched on camera. And in this era, that's all it takes. He built a billion-dollar company on data. He spent years convincing the world that patterns could predict the future. But he forgot something crucial. People notice patterns too, not just algorithms. Us. We notice the nervous laughs, the avoidant glances, the inconsistencies between what people say and what they show. And once we see it, we can't unsee it. The irony is brutal. Andy Byron, the man who once said, "Privacy is a choice," was destroyed by a clip he didn't choose. A clip he couldn't edit. A moment that was too real to raw and too relatable. Because who hasn't had a moment they'd rather erase? Who hasn't flinched at the wrong time? Looked away when they should have leaned in? But most of us don't do it